Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we're going to take a look at in this video series, this is the first video, is the Synology Deep Learning NVR, the DVA 1622. So thanks to Synology for sending this over. They sent this, and they sent a couple of Toshiba 4 terabyte NAS drives to go along with it. I'm assuming these are going to be on the compatible list, seeing as how they sent it to me. But I guess we'll find out after we put it in and we get it fired up. So, real quick, before we get to setting the device up in the first video, let's take a look at the specs, and then we'll take a look at what comes in the box. So, they have two dedicated deep learning NVRs. One you can see is 2-disc, the other is 4-disc, and we're going to look at some of the features and then the differences, and then we're going to get this one set up, base set up, and then in the next video we'll add a camera, the Synology camera, then we'll add a third-party camera. So real quick, so the features that you have, you get all of the standard surveillance station features with the deep learning NVRs, but you get more. You get vehicle and people detection, intrusion detection, license plate recognition, people detection. You get people and vehicle counting, congestion alerts, face recognition, face covering detection, and then for building management, it is kind of the same thing. You can do this. You can do with regular surveillance station. You get map supported alerts and things like that. Then we have automation rules, notifications. We're going to look at all of that stuff because you can really get into the weeds on this. It is, the one that we have is the DVA 1622. It is a dedicated NVR 2-disc. So, and then a lot of this is marketing, talking about how, you can use their drives and their app and all that good stuff. So here is the hardware specs. So for the DVA 1622, which is the model that we have here, it has an Intel Celeron 64-bit processor at 2 gigahertz that can burst up to 2.7. It does have a hardware encryption engine. It uses the Intel UHD Graphics 600 GPU. It has HDMI out at 1080p 60 Hertz. Comes from the factory with 6 gigs of DDR4 memory. It does not say here that we can upgrade the memory, so I haven't really messed around with that too much. It's got 2 drive bays. No expansion unit is supported. The drives are hot swappable. You have to make sure, though, that the drive itself is hot swappable, but the system supports it. It's got one RJ45 1 gig LAN port, and really with most of your cameras are 100 megs, so what do you need more than that for? And it's got 2 USB 3.0 ports because you can hook a keyboard and mouse directly to this unit. And then we get into some of the other things, like the noise level is 18.4 decibels. You can do scheduled power on off, 60 watts for the power. Power consumption is 19.93 watts. The BTU, so the heat output, is listed here at about 68 BTUs. We should only be using this between 32 and 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 0 to 40 degrees Celsius. And it's got all the wonderful certifications. Now, here is the thing. It comes stock with a 3-year warranty, and you can extend that to 5 years. And then it says here we get main unit, accessory pack. Let's really take a look at what we've got from software specs, and then we'll look at what's in the box. So from the software specs side, this 1622 can do the people and vehicle detection with license plate recognition, people counting, vehicle counting, intrusion detection, face recognition. You have to be careful also, know your laws, understand your local laws, your state laws when it comes to facial recognition and using it, and how to use it responsibly. Deep video analytics tasks, we can do 2 people and vehicle detection tasks, or 2 people counting tasks, 2 vehicle counting tasks, 2 intrusion detection tasks, or if we're going to do facial recognition, we can only do 1 task at a time. Maximum number of registrations supported by the face database, you can track 10,000 faces. Now, There are 8 free licenses with this for cameras, as you can see here, and you can scale this unit up to 16 cameras. So it comes with 8, and then the Synology camera, of course, is going to come with its own, so we really have 9 licenses for this. And we'll see if we can max it. I'm trying to think if I've got enough cameras to max it and see what happens. Here's all of our different resolutions at H.264. So it can do at least 1080, which should be good for us. It can go all the way up to 4K. It can also do H.265, as you can see here. We've got all of our different audio codecs. And they do want to warn us that the actual system capabilities may differ depending on system configuration, drive performance, number of features enabled, and additional workloads. So max single volume, 108 terabytes. So with 2 drives, you might be able to mount, I guess, external storage with this, but you can't expand it itself. It has basic and RAID 1. Let's see. So Synology Hybrid RAID, which is their version of 2-disc RAID. Anything else? It supports all of the other stuff that other Synology units, and it looks like we can do VPN server with it, and we can have 40 connections. I'm not going to put a VPN necessarily on my NVR. Maybe some people do for remote viewing, and that's fantastic. And then you can view the complete list of everything that will run on the DVAs. And you can see it's pretty much everything on 7.2. So let's take a look at what's in the box. All right, here it is. So the box is it's not that big. It's pretty small. It is a 2-disc, two bay unit. I'm going to go ahead and get this open. Now I am going to take it to its final resting place. Its final place where it's going to work when we fire it up. So in the box we have the unit itself. Comes in this nice little white cloth cover, and you can see Synology there on the side. Both sides vented with the slots. On the back, we've got all of our normal stuff: the fan, the 2 USBs, the Kensington lock, the DCN. We've got our reset button back there. And then, of course, our drive bays pop out just like every other Synology. USB on the front, power, so we got our status, our 2 disc lights. So it's pretty comparable to other Synology 2-disc units. Quick start guide. Then we've got our power adapter right here, full power adapter. We have mounting screws for the drives, and then the keys. So, and an Ethernet cable. So what I'm going to do real quick is I am going to open these drives, and we're going to mount the drives. We'll be right back. All right, so one really cool thing that I didn't notice is that these drives had actually been open, which is fine. I'm not complaining about free gear at all, but it's going to be interesting to see when we plug these into the NAS, is there already an operating system on it? Is it going to see it, want to do a migration? Ooh, guess we'll find out here shortly, but stay tuned. All right, so if you've never installed a hard drive in a Synology, you slide the drive trays out. And the drive trays, you don't necessarily need those screws for full-size drives. They've got this really intelligent pressure system here on the side. I don't even know what to call it. I mean, these little pins on this plastic go into your drive and hold the drive in. It's really kind of genius. I always wondered who came up with this, and then of course everybody else copied it, right? So I'm just going to take this other side out. I really don't know what you call this, and I've installed thousands of drives in Synology, and I don't know what they call it besides the hard drive locking rail. I don't know. Now, when you install your drive into the tray, you need the connectors sticking out of the back, because that's what's going to slide into the unit and slide into the connector so you can use the drive. So you can see the drive is now seated into the tray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and if these don't line up for you, you'll have to make sure that the screw holes on the side of the hard drive line up. But then you just push that in like that. Here, let's take a look at the other side so the holes are lined up. And you're just going to install it, push it in there. Make sure it's nice and secure. And that's it. That's how you install the drive. So I'm going to get the other one installed, and we're going to get this thing on the network and get the initial config done. Stay tuned. All right, so the drives are installed. Whew, this thing got beefy real quick. So I'm going to take it in the other room, get it plugged into the network. We'll find it. We'll get the initial config done, and we'll wrap this one up. Stay tuned. All right, so here we are. It's on the network, got an IP, and it says it has DSM version 7.0.1, but it says it's also not installed, so we're going to go ahead and connect. We're going to read the EULA. You have to accept, and then here is the privacy update from the privacy statement from Synology, last updated September 2021. So you're going to want to read through that. We're going to go ahead and click continue, and let's see what happens here during the setup. All right, welcome. Set up your DVA 1622 now. We're going to go ahead and hit install. We're going to automatically download the latest version from the Synology website. All data on drives 1 and 2 will be deleted. Yes, we understand. Now, it hasn't asked me yet for an admin username and password. That is coming up. So we're going to go ahead and let this finish. And when this is done, we will be right back. All right, so after the reboot and everything, it actually does look like it did do DSM 7.2. So, all right, we are going to go ahead and hit start. It wants to know the device name, the administrator account, and the password and confirm password. So I'm going to fill this out. So this is going to be WH Deep Learning NVR. And we're just going to put our lab password in here. This is nothing that we are going to use in production. Just use it here in the lab. Allow the Synology NVR to be displayed in Web Assistant. We're going to go ahead and click Next on this. All right, so now we have update options. Do we want to automatically install important DSM and package updates only? Do we want to automatically install all of them, or do we want to be notified and then we will install them manually? Well, this is in the lab. I'm going to go ahead and let it do important DSM and update packages. I usually don't do this in the real world. For something that's in production, we do those manually because a lot of times, not a lot of times, but more often than what I would like, updates make things go sideways. But we'll know here in the lab. Right now, I am not going to sign into my Synology account. And I'm going to let Synology collect non-identifiable data to help improve their devices. It's going to go ahead and create the volume and install. And we'll be right back. All right, so that is done, and now what we've got is a solicitation to install Synology Drive Server and Synology Office. We're going to say no thanks because we are not going to use this for anything except an NVR. Enable two-factor, remind me later. We will do that later. And look at this, they make you click this thing that says I don't want to secure my account. We'll say okay. We'll say okay there. And then to get MFA working correctly, you need to have notifications set up. So we'll have to do that. There's a couple other things that we want to do now that this is installed. Let's see. So it comes with Surveillance Station installed by default. So let's take a look at that. Surveillance Station uses the default browser player to play videos. Okay. So we've got all these things. So you've got your deep video analytics here as an app, and then you have your facial recognition. So here are the tasks that we've got up under deep video analytics. We've got the people and vehicle detection, intrusion detection, people counting, and vehicle counting. And then you've got your facial recognition. So you have to build a facial recognition database. And you can upload, you can literally upload a picture to this and train it on that. So we'll play around with that as well. And then of course they have C2 surveillance, which is where you can record to their cloud. Not necessary. So this is set up, except for let's do our base setup. So we're going to stick a static IP address on this, and then we're going to set up notifications, and we are going to then set up MFA. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Control Panel. We're going to go down to Login Portal, and this is not going to be exposed to the internet at all. So I'm going to leave the default. I mean, it'll have internet access, but what I'm saying is I'm not opening ports through my router to this device. So I'm going to leave 5000, 5001 the same. I'm going to say automatically redirect HTTP connection to HTTPS because I want everything secured, even though it's on my local LAN. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. This is by far not an in-depth DSM setup. This is getting us up and going for this NAS with a few quick things that you should definitely always do. So we're going to let this thing restart and relog us in. And now we are connected with HTTPS, and it's the Synology generated cert. They want to know if we want to do if we want to do an extended warranty and optional advanced replacement. We're going to skip for now. And if I hit this enable now for MFA, now I will say that previously you did have to have notifications set up. So we'll see whether we can do this. So what it wants to know for my Howe account is, do I want to do a single factor authentication? So using the secure sign-in app, a hardware security key, or entering the password, or do I want to do an MFA? So let's see what happens when I do an OTP. So it's going to ask me for my current password. And it tells us that we have to enter our username, password, and then the code. So I already have an MFA app that I use on my phone, which is where we're going to put this. And I'm going to go ahead and add an account. And I am going to scan the QR code. And I'm going to save it. And I'm going to put the code in. And it wants us to set up a backup email. So, of course, we'll do that. And I'm not going to send the verification email because this NAS is not set up to send email. Please verify. Let's see. Send. Verification email has been sent. Hold on. Let me see if this is real news. All right. So I am learning things every day. So without us actually setting up notifications and an email address on the NAS, it uses the Synology cloud to now actually be able to do that. So now you don't have to use a Gmail account or whatever if you want to do MFA. That's awesome. So I will now receive emergency verification code and system notifications at my email address. That's fantastic. That's a great change. And now that we have verified, we can see here it says verified. I'm going to go ahead and click next and then done and apply. And so now my MFA is set up. So that is a new change that I didn't know that you could do, is that you could set up MFA without setting up a notification email. So that's fantastic. I'm actually kind of off kilter a little bit because of that now. So we've got the NAS redirecting to HTTPS. We've got our MFA set up. I think for now I want to put a static IP on. So let me find an IP that is in my static range that I'm not using. All right, so I am not using 192.168.66.3, so that's what we're going to use. So we're going to go ahead and go to network interface. We're going to edit this. We're going to do manual 192.168.66.3. Subnet mask is /24. Gateway DNS are correct. Going to go ahead and click OK on that. Now it should redirect us here in the browser once it applies these network settings. So you and I really learned something, today about the newer versions of DSM and alerting and things like that. And I'm actually really happy that I learned that. I'm going to dismiss this warranty. And so that's it. So now I'm going to get some cameras mounted. And in the next video, we're going to go ahead and add cameras to it and get everything up and going. So this is a little bit of a longer video. I'm glad that you hung in there with us. We now have our NVR set up and ready to add cameras. So come back for the next video when we add the Synology camera to Surveillance Station. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with affiliate links for all the Synology gear you see here. The other thing that you might want to know is that we can help you set this up, right? So if you need IT consulting and you want your Synology set up and you want a best practices, head on over to williehowe.com. Fill out the contact form on the front page, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. I'm still kind of off kilter about this whole thing. It just blew me away now that you can do the two-factor and the emergency alerting and all that without setting up an email service. So if you have any questions about this before the next video, let me know down in the comments. Wow, I'm really glad they made that change, and I just picked up on it today. So anyway, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.